throughout the first pitch, as it was fun to see my boy, head coach there at Florida State University with the golf team. Big moments for them starting next week with the regionals and all that good stuff. Women are playing right now at Seminole Legacy. That course is amazing. It was built for this very reason, right? To be hosting these kinds of events. And the ladies are doing quite nicely as well. Top 4 move on in the men's game, top 5. And so it's fun to watch anyhow. Just a heads up for those of you that like the golf, and a shout out to my boy for throwing out the first pitch and throwing a strike. Threw a strike. Looked good.
Oh, he did? All right.
Threw a strike.
Was it a lollipop or was it a good one?
No, he fired it. He did the smart thing. I've done it twice. I've learned a lesson from a mistake. You can't think. Can't think when you're throwing out first pitch. You ever throw out a first pitch anywhere at anything, just don't think, and you'll be all right. You know, Mike Martin, Sr., 11, said to me one time that the most nervous he had been in front of a crowd. Now, think about this. He was an all-world player here at Florida State, played and coached a bunch of different sports. This is a guy that one time coached basketball. It's hilarious. But anyhow, he's been in the spotlight a lot. Most nervous he ever was throwing out the first pitch at a Rays game for Seminole Day down there in St. Petersburg. And, think about his career in baseball. He was nervous, said he could feel like he was visibly shaken about throwing out the first pitch at the Rays game.
And it's not exactly Dodger Stadium in October.
No.
There's 4,200 people there.
I know. It's crazy, but he was very nervous. And it's funny because it's all eyes on you. You're not part of a bigger picture. It's just you. And Trey did the right thing last night. As soon as they announced his name, who he was, his accomplishments, where Florida State is competing next week down there, where they host the Honda Classic, he just, as soon as they said, "All right, Trey, let's see a strike," he just turned and fired. Just didn't even think about it. Just turn, see target, throw target. That's the end of it, right? You know how you're learning how to pitch when you're young? Just throw to the mitt. You don't think about anything else.
Step and throw. That was my dad. Yeah. Step and throw.
Throw to the mitt. Just don't think about anything else. Just throw to the mitt. And you keep your eyes on that, and your body will actually naturally kind of do that a lot of times. That's an aside. Kudos to him. Noles needed to win those 2 games. Jacksonville's RPI is garbage. It would have been devastating to lose those. A precarious situation would have put you in. So good. They won both games. And now we get set for the series against Miami here, and that's a huge series, and it has the gravitas of what used to be with these series with Florida State and Miami, where you feel like there's a lot on the line. There's a weight to it, that whole thing.
Yeah, you look at the next 7 games. It's against Miami here at home. That's the final home game on Sunday. You play down in Gainesville against the Gators on Tuesday. That's a makeup game for a rainout earlier this season. And then North Carolina on the road for the final weekend of regular season play. Those are 3 teams that are all within the top 30 of the RPI. So if you win 4 of those games, maybe 5 of those games, if I dare to dream, then you are going to host, I believe, a regional. But it's not just about this weekend's opportunity. I've been hyper-focused on that because Miami's RPI is in the top 10, has been for most of the season. But Florida's up there, and North Carolina's no slouch either. So a bunch of opportunities. Usually we're middling against middling teams, but good job last night getting the sweep. We're now 19th in the pseudo RPI.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't get too high with the highs, too low with the lows when it comes to baseball. There have been some real lows this year and some real highs this year, and neither were lasting. So it's just sort of all right. And the problem, I used to be better about this. I'm not as good about this anymore. Partly because the sport has taken a hit. College baseball has taken a bit of a hit since I've been on the air, certainly, and really mainly in the last 5 to 7 years. And I don't mean specific to Florida State. I just think the sport has taken a hit. It had a prominence at one time, and it appeared to be upwardly mobile across the country there for a short period of time. And I don't think it is anymore for a variety of reasons. But the point would be, I used to be better about enjoying the regular season. The very thing that I loathed about our fan base for the longest time. So I had a friend. Here's a good example. I had a friend yesterday. He now lives part-time in the mountains of Tennessee and part-time in the state of Florida. Former scientist, worked in the world of science. Infinitely fascinating guy to talk to. Florida State guy through and through. Anyhow, he and I have been going back and forth over the years about Martin and Florida State and where they rank and what to make of his career and everything else, right? And a really sensible cat. So in his neck of the woods, the talk is of Tennessee baseball and how good they've been this year. And I simply wrote back, well, they better win it all or it's a meaningless season now, isn't it? And he was like, well, and I go, oh, no, meaningless. You could win 55 games. Who cares, pal? According to you.
Did you feel pride in that moment?
No, I felt like go to hell, because that's exactly what everybody's done over the years with any team that doesn't win at all. And so I hated that mindset and always thought, especially in a sport like baseball where it's a truncated tournament that decides it and everything else, right? So I've thought over the years, well, don't do that. Don't be the thing that you loathe. Enjoy the season. Enjoy the season. You know how, by the way, it used to, we'd roll our eyes at him just because he had resources and he had McDonald's All-Americans that didn't even play. They just sat on the bench. That's how loaded the roster was. But you would hear Coach K talk about enjoying the journey, enjoying, the path to what we hope is, in the way he would talk about it, is a Final Four, a finals appearance, maybe a national championship. But you got to enjoy every step along the way for the totality of it all. And I agree with that. He bothered me to no end when he would say it, but I agree with that. It's easier to say when you have one, but or multiple. But I think it's true, especially in baseball, that you should enjoy it, the season. What's the point of going each week if you don't enjoy that, right? Like, why would anybody go to a game? What's the point? It doesn't mean anything, right? You can't do that. One team's going to be standing at the end of the year. One. Should nobody else enjoy the baseball season ever?
I'm at a place where I'm just looking at the numbers and I'm saying, what will it take to host? I'm not talking about what will it take to win it all. That's what I've been focused on, at the talking points for a long time, looking at the RPI and just counting the numbers. And I understand that some pollsters hate Florida State. Some of them love Florida State. And that changes year to year. Which pollster likes you and which one doesn't. It used to be Baseball America. Now it's D1 Baseball that doesn't like FSU all that much this season. But I'm looking at the numbers and I'm seeing 7 opportunities here before you get to the ACC Baseball Championships in Durham. I'm assuming it's in Durham. It always is in Durham. And here's your opportunity to host, because what gives us the best chance to go to Oklahoma? That's the softball. To Omaha this year?
Yeah.
Well, that would be hosting a regional. I don't mind if they have to go on the road for a super. Of course, I'd like them to host it. But I think, if you got Messick going in game 1, A-okay. I still like your chances in a best of 3 against the same baseball club.
Yeah, me too.
But I really would like to see Hauser rocking again. And there have been fits and starts this season. Early in the year, it was rocking. The Tuesday game against the Gators, it was an awesome place to be. Started with the runs early on, the play by carry on deep in the hole. That place, it felt like it used to for regionals. I want to see that happen again. But we've got to win enough of these important games to get ourselves there. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, you're looking at the more immediate details.
Not a title, a chance to host a regional.
Yeah. And then you take it along the way. Yeah, no, I just, that goes to mindset of how you view a season, how you view a team. Like, I think what happens, if the more successful you are, the harder it gets to enjoy the ride. The more successful you are, the harder it gets to enjoy each passing victory, because your eyes are always set down the road for the more important games that these games are setting up along the way. And, there was a time where we did that with football, and some would describe that as being spoiled. Well, we're the furthest thing from it now. And so every day is a hyper focus on the little details of improvement along the way. And it's funny because when I look at Florida State football and I think about Florida State football and the topics that keep us and fuel us through the summer, most of the time, if you go back to the teams that were dominant, and it was previous to the college football playoff, BCS title game or bust, when you had that mindset, right? Then the only things you talked about in the summer were the possibilities of a trip up, maybe 2 locales, the Miami game, the Florida game. Occasionally there might have been a game that was an out-of-conference game that you added to your schedule that you thought that could get interesting. Notre Dame, somebody like that. Going all the way back, you would have said somebody like Southern Cal or whoever it might be, right? But you just took for granted the games in the conference as automatic wins, and the question was by how much. And that wasn't always healthy either, or a way to go about a viewing pattern as a fan. It's funny, there are parts of what we're going through now that I actually enjoy, and other parts of that remind me all along the way of how far we have to go. And I bring this up a lot because when you can't focus on a national championship, a college football playoff, and all you can focus on is getting back to being a program of significance, which is to say you're over 500, you're ranked. Let's just stop there. You're over 500 and you're ranked.
At some point.
Would you not just say that's where it is, right? You're over 500 and you're ranked. I mean, is that where it stops right now?
Yeah, you want to be inside the top 20 for at least 1 week this upcoming season. If you have a hot start, I think you can do that.
Well, first of all, you're going to beat Duquesne. If you beat LSU, you go into the Louisville game as a team that I think is on the precipice of that game, that win right there.
It's early, so you need some help from the 21 through 25 teams, but you'll be in the other teams receiving votes. Now, if you were to dare to dream and you start 3-0, you got a home game against Boston College after beating LSU in a de facto home game for the Tigers, and then you beat Louisville on the road on a Friday night. If you beat BC in your fourth game of the season and you're 4-0, I think you're going to be ranked. Yeah.
Oh, for certain you'll be ranked. You'll be ranked inside the top 20, not top 25. You'll be in the top 20. You'll be, yeah. If you're 4-0 with a win over LSU and a road win against Louisville, especially because remember early in the year, nobody knows what LSU is. We just know the name, know the coach, certainly, and we'll see what remains. But also, for Florida State, you'd have basically 2 road wins. I mean, and they would be of some significance. Now, at that point, Louisville would not have fallen off a cliff, let's say, if they're in store for a bad season. Don't know what kind of season they're going to have. They're kind of a weird team, but they could have a bad year, and your win over them as the weeks go by would seem rather insignificant, but not in that moment, not through 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It would be, oh, okay, look at these guys. All right, maybe they're getting it together down in Tallahassee. Moreover, if you start 4-0, Tom, which would have you 2-0 in the ACC at that point and an out-of-conference win against LSU and obviously the Duquesne game. But you're set up now to where you don't have to play great to garner 7 to 8 wins. You don't.
By definition, you go 500 the rest of the way, and you're 8-4.
Yeah, you are in a position at that point where your margin of error expands greatly. Florida State has not been in a position in a long time in which the margin of error has greatly decreased after the first 2 or 3 games. All that has happened around these parts over the last several years is that the margin for error is 0. The second September ends, you're like, well, that's it. That's all. Can't lose another one if we're going to have a good season. I mean, think about how those talking points have kind of ruled the day.
I've thought about it.
Well, we've done is it's gotten off to such terrible starts that the month ends and you go, well, son of a bitch, it's over again. They got to win them all. And then you look ahead and you're like, well, they're not going to win that one. They're not going to win that one. So this is disastrous. That's the way we viewed this.
2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21. That's 5 straight Septembers.
5 effing years.
And if it wasn't for DeMarcus Walker and DeAndre Francois, it'd be 6 because we needed their heroics against Ole Miss.
Against Ole Miss and Orlando.
And even that was a quasi-good September because a couple weeks later you go on the road to Louisville and it's an unholy beatdown. So that doesn't even really qualify as a good September. So maybe it is 6 in a row.
That was a 22-point comeback.
It was. Yep. We actually changed locales at halftime.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked.
That was a maddening beginning to that game. What do we do? What is going on? This was me getting angrier at Jimbo all the time.
Yeah. It was a crazy day in my life because I got home. I was at the Notre Dame Texas game the night before in Austin.
Yes, you were.
And I caught a flat on Labor Day. And thankfully there was a car dealership open in McDonough, Georgia, which is the pits of the world for traffic as you're going up 75.
Yeah.
But I was thankful for it because I was in a loaner, and that's how I got down in time for the pregame show. What a day.
They could burn McDonough to the ground. Sherman could come back through and burn McDonough to the ground. Every time I get to McDonough, the things I say, vitriol, the likes of which I wouldn't dare repeat on these airwaves about McDonough every time I'm there. Because my brother lives in Atlanta, and so does another close friend. I know your sister lives in Atlanta. Every time, like, oh, with McDonough, how many years do we need to have to get it together here in McDonough?
There's a different way to go. I'm not putting it on these airwaves because it's you don't want more traffic there. But there's a different way to go, and it doesn't go through McDonough. And you'll thank me.
I mean, it could be 10 in the morning, 7 p.m. Dead Stop McDonough.
Yes.
That should be the name of the town. Dead Stop McDonough. Welcome into Dead Stop McDonough.
Forevermore.
Get out, stretch your legs. You got time. 30-minute yoga routine. Don't worry about it. You got all the time in the world here at Dead Stop McDonough.
There should be food vendors on the shoulder of the road
Yeah.
at McDonough.
Taco trucks, food trucks with tacos. Woo! Turn it into a party here at Dead Stop McDonough. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
Actually, all of us that have the privilege to work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control are Paul.
We're proud to call ourselves Paul because we work for a company that puts our customers first. We love what we do, and we love the principles our company demands.
Give our customers more than they expect and do everything within our power to keep them safe and comfortable.
We make a difference every day and know we protect the health of our thousands of North Florida customers that we are honored to call our friends.
And we're looking to bring a few more Pauls to our growing family. We have several openings now or in the very near future. Positions include termite, lawn, and general pest techs, route managers, inside sales, and customer service rep. Visit callpauls.com to see what's available and to find out how to apply. Every Pauls receives competitive pay with outstanding benefits, including health insurance, 401k, paid leave time, and holidays.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
I'm Paul.
And you could be Paul, too, for the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We've been getting them all in North Florida for over 50 years.
Hey, Nole fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, you know these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah, well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food, but I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
It's from both gentlemen this week and other members of the ACC. Kind of curious to see what ultimately does come out of that. We know they're discussing getting rid of the divisions in the ACC. That's what's kind of being discussed all around college football, to be honest with you, in the Power Five. I don't know if you read, there's a good piece today. I won't get into every detail of it, but I would turn your attention to it. We'll discuss it a little bit here. You know, Tom, on the show over the years, I've talked about the unique story that is the Joe Moglia story there at Coastal Carolina. Everybody's pretty well aware of his situation. If you guys don't remember, he was the coach at Coastal Carolina. His background is quite interesting. First, he spent 16 years coaching, then left coaching, did 17 years at Merrill Lynch and 8 at TD Ameritrade, then decided to come back into coaching, worked with Nebraska, and then became the head coach at Coastal Carolina. He did so at a time in which they were seeking to elevate from the FCS to the FBS. He went 56-22 in 6 years before handpicking his successor, Tom, and now is the chair of athletics and executive director of football at Coastal. So the business background, the coaching background, okay, let's have him weigh in, hence the article in The Athletic, on the state of college football and what to do. And look, he admittedly, openly said, it's something we all would say, we don't need the business background to say this, basically noting that the NCAA, if this were the business world, the entire board would be fired. Quote, the entire executive management team would have been fired by now. He noted, too, that he had a lot of respect for what the NCAA did in the past, but again, it needs to operate much more like a business now more than ever before, and they need to get out in front. Well, it's too late for that. It's too late for that. They had every opportunity to get out in front and chose not to.
Oh, yeah. Mark Emmert is a criminal. I mean, period.
Yeah.
No, he's stealing. Like, you consider some of the signs that are so apparent over the last few years, and nobody is there to get rid of him.
Well, and he got a raise in the and an extension in the past year before stepping down.
No, it feels very congressional. It does. Like, you know, how is it that you are the head of this organization? You fail so miserably that the great example was the women's basketball tournament and the men's basketball tournament. The tweet and maybe it was an Instagram post that went viral. Here's their workout facility.
5-pound weights over in the
Here's
corner.
our workout. Equal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're equal, huh? They didn't even let women's basketball use March Madness as a term.
Right.
And his response was, well, you know, maybe if you can do it. Like, it wasn't, I'm so sorry, we're going to make this right. It was, well, it's your fault. Like, and he still got a raise. So, okay. And he gives himself a 13-year golden parachute farewell tour? Nah, man. Nah.
Quote, if we're going to do something, we got to get to it now. The quicker college sports gets its arm around that, the better you're going to be. If college sports is going to wait for the NCAA, well, that would be unbelievable to me when they allowed all of this to happen to begin with. And you get into, so that's part of the article in which he's talking about some things that he thinks they can do. And he's heard about, quote, the great ideas, but there's no sense of urgency within the NCAA. And that's where he talked about needing to come up with a committee, like to pull away from the NCAA and talk about, you know, forget various boards and subcommittees and slow legislative process. He wants to create an executive committee with almost autonomous power to make decisions. So like in business, the group could be made up of anyone the membership decides, right? They can be voted out. They have the power if they're voted in. Okay. So obviously, he knows you're going to have to find a consensus here on who would make up this executive committee, if you will. It should have the skill sets for everything you might be looking for, but the business sense and the courage to do both the business sense and the courage to do what really is right for all of college sports. They're the bosses. That's it. They determine the rules as objectively as they possibly can. So he sees this as ultimately a way to kind of get a handle on where the sport is headed. And he said at this time, college athletics is facing the biggest lack of leadership in the history of the sport and should have never been given an extension. And he's making the same point you are about ripping Emmert, and that Emmert took advantage of what they gave him on down the line. He would like to eliminate the signing period. He wants to fix the coaching contract market. In professional sports, coaches rarely voluntarily leave one team for another while under contract. That's because they can't. They can be traded the way John Gruden was, but when under contract, they're locked in. College football doesn't operate that way. Every offseason, coaches leave one school for another. there's a buyout to pay for leaving early written into those contracts, but the new school typically picks up the tab. He hates that, doesn't like it, wouldn't allow for it. It's not how a normal business world works with lateral movement, he adds. The commitment he wants from players must also then apply to all coaches. Magley, as a former coach, says, look, if you view it from the executive's perspective, this is the way it would be. If you have a great year and somebody wants you, you can leave the next year. And with the portal, the way it is, all your best players are now going with you. The school you're leaving is decimated. If you sign a 5-year deal, you're supposed to be there for 5 years and nobody can poach you. Nobody should even be allowed to talk to him unless he's within 6 months left in his contract. If a guy's doing great and you choose to extend him, that guy has a big decision to make. If he thinks he can do better down the line, then he may hold off on that extension. And he gets into details about something we've talked about, which is that these schools oftentimes feel, I guess, held hostage. Like football being so important, the agents keep saying to the coaches, to the athletic directors, if you don't extend them now, you're going to lose them. Or what does this say about recruiting and all, the chances that he's going to be here down the line? He believes that that's complete and utter nonsense. And
well, the other problem here is, I know what I just said about Emmert, and that's all true. Here's another thing that's true that's going to sound almost like Emmert is speaking. College sports, and this is what he's going to say after he's done. College sports is a bubble. It should not be as big as it is outside of the money-making sports. If you consider it as a business, as this gentleman is proposing,
well, and he points
dollar
out,
in and dollar
yes.
out. So why is it, and I know what conferences would demand this, but why is it that a track team, male or female, gets to go over the country instead of regionally, more as a club-type sport?
Right. Well,
like,
to your point, over 95% of the teams that compete in athletics at any university are a lost investment. You lose
like woefully.
money. In that sense, it's not a business. It's costing you money to participate in those sports, with very few exceptions.
Beyond the scholarships, yes, it is.
Yeah. It costs the university money.
So the problem that college football has, and I'm not saying Title IX by itself is a problem, but the problem that college football has is if that provision is in place and it's tied to the institution, unless you reclassify what that sport is, then you always are going to subsidize your entire athletic department. So that's the thing that I'll be interested to see over the next 10 years is, do we realize that college sports is a bubble and the travel is nuts for 90% of the sports? They should just be remanded to regionalized games. They should be. I mean, really, how did we get to this point? The money is so great that you got to hide it somewhere almost. You have to justify the money that's coming in. The university can't net a huge profit off of it. They've got to spend it back out.
That's why the athletic centers became what they were and coaches' salaries became what they were.
Right. That's another place to hide it.
That's where they hide all of the money.
Right.
$12 million a year for this guy. Players get none of it. By the way, we got a chocolate fountain at our new football-only facility.
Right. And yet the players got none of it. But if you reclassify, then it goes back into where it belongs. Because, I remember way back when, 15 years ago, when I was an undergrad, a friend of mine was playing soccer for Coach Krikorian.
Mm-hmm.
And their stipend at the soccer program at the time, because it was the highest profile, and it still is. I mean, softball's running close second in the women's side of things. They get equal stipend to football players. Now, you tell me if that's fair.
Right.
That's not fair. The football players are the reason there's a stipend in the first place to offer. So that's a difficult conversation to have, though. Especially right now, it's a difficult conversation to have, but it's the uncomfortable conversation, to this guy's point, that are happening in boardrooms all over the country. Like, why do we have this wing of the business if it's making us no money? We have to stick to what we do well. These are the products that make us money.
His point, and one we've talked about, and ultimately will be something that saves Florida State as they continue to lag behind financially, is that he thinks where we're headed in the not so distant future, the Power 5 conferences will band together. They'll do so on television contracts for more leverage. That would include the Big Ten taking a short extension on its current contracts to sync up with the other leagues at that time. Now, I think they'd like to expedite that process. He thinks that's what would work best. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think the Big Ten is going to take a short extension if they can get the kind of money that we're reading about currently in the billions. I don't know about all of that. The media consultants have made this point for years that everybody should – you scale down the grouping in the top brands of college football and you get more television money, right? And that's how that works. And you have basically a super league. It makes all the business sense in the world. And let's say that's 65 schools in the Power 5. I don't know, half of them maybe, or a little bit more than that or so. And then everybody else, they play. You could even have them play under the same guidelines that we used to have with the NCAA if you wanted. I mean, that could still, they continue on the way that they had student athletes on scholarship, with the exception that they obviously can earn money, which was always dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
they couldn't.
If you tied it okay, so what's the cash cow for the NCAA specifically? It's March Madness.
March Madness.
Right. So if you use that as your baseline of your budget, that's the income that you're bringing in. These are your NCAA sports on the one side. And then on the other side, here's your football sport. That's this other thing. I think that's where this is all going to go. And what's interesting to me, and you brought this up many times, and we haven't really heard about it in the national discussion, is when the Big Ten's contract comes due and the Big 12, Pac-12 in the near future, obviously us never, will streaming services enter the bidding war? Because, there's a salient point. Yeah. I saw this on the boards. This is on the message boards in the roundtable we did. Well, aren't people cutting the cord? So where is all this money coming from these TV networks? Well, the streaming partners have to jump into the conversation at some point. Apple Plus is doing so with baseball. Peacock now has Sunday morning baseball games, MLB games, starting at 11 or 11:30, which I think is really cool.
I do too.
But when are these services going to jump into the college football game? And that is going to drive the price up for these conferences that the ACC cannot get in on. It's not necessarily that they want a TV deal because Comcast is going to exist in the same way 10 years from now. It's not.
No.
But when will we hear those reports that Apple Plus is making an aggressive bid on the Big Ten rights? That's got to be coming soon.
I think very soon. And in fact, that gets talked about a lot. We bring it up on these airwaves, but it's been in the industry. Anyhow, you hear people say this all the time. Like, the shift is coming. It's not going to look anything like what we see in the landscape of these contracts currently. Like, it's going to be fascinating to watch how soon it happens. And obviously it's of great interest for programs like Florida State, which right now has no choice but to hyper focus on getting itself in the best possible position to be welcomed in to this brave new world, and become something that they once were, which is obviously a program of great significance.
I think the other thing too is that if you're just looking at the long-term viability and watchability of sports in general, women's sports is now like a buy low product in terms of the stock value in a way it hasn't been in ever in my lifetime. Like, I could see in 20 years where there are viable women's sports on, network TV, quote unquote, or streaming rights, television partners or whatever, that are doing okay, that are going to be self-sufficient. They don't need to be like the WNBA won't need to be subsidized by the NBA in that example. I think in college sports, you're seeing that there's a rise there. There's a growth there. So if you're going to have the tough discussion and the reclassification of college football in the near future, are you killing that potential growth at the worst possible time?
I find all of that fascinating because one thing, and I agree with you, but I do wonder, the WNBA still does terrible.
I know.
Nobody watches.
I'm using that as an analogy. I'm not literally talking about the WNBA.
I know you are. I'm just saying we've waited a long time. I would have thought by now. Crickets, friend. A garbage product that nobody watches.
But if you've got a bunch of rednecks in Tallahassee loving college softball out of nowhere in the last 5 years, that tells me that it's possible.
Well, those rednecks, I think you dare say, have spread across the country. Those numbers are big on ESPN.
Right, exactly.
It's not just here.
But I'm talking about that demo. That'll be the last demo, I think. And listen, I'm a beloved citizen of Tallahassee. I love this area, and it's a mix of everybody. But if you've got that demo at, a local watering hole near us saying, hey, did you see the softball game the other day? That tells me that conversation would never have happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
No, that sport has come the furthest in the last 5 years of any of the women's sports that I can think of that we talk about on the airways or even make reference to. I can't. It's really shocking how quickly that sport has grown into something that across the board, men and women seem to enjoy, and the numbers bear it out. We have friends that work in the industry, that work for ESPN and others that will point out, hey, man, this is good. This is good. Another one that's improving, and this is true of both men and women as well. Golf, collegiate golf is growing rapidly.
It's got a chance.
And I only know that because I work in it, but I'm stunned by Golf Channel invested in it is when it started, and they started covering these events, and they were stunned to find out the growth patterns. So they've invested more. You see more of these events now all the time.
Yeah. Bob Papa's like, finally, I'm on to something that's going to do good.
Yeah. It's remarkable. And I think there's something to the idea, and this gets back to what maybe soon lacking in college football, which everybody's scared to death of. But the very collegial nature of those sports, they are very collegial. The Golf Channel was smart when they expanded their coverage to include college golf, men and women.
And then to fortify it with the logos next to the players on the PGA
That's
Tour
what they did. They took the logos and then they placed them on the players on the tour. People love to see their logo. They love to see representation.
Well, and here's another event. I know the course plays into it as well, but the Augusta Women's Amateur, that's doing good numbers.
Oh yeah,
and that's a good
it's
product.
another peak at Augusta.
Right. But it's not just because we've had a Nole in contention the last couple of years. Like, that's actually compelling television. That, again, I don't know that men were prepared to have that discussion 10 or 15 years ago. That
Certainly not the folks in Augusta. I almost called this Seminole headlines. We were sitting here talking about softball so much. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Leon County Health Department is warning people to be cautious in and around Lake Munson after the discovery of harmful blue-green algae. A water sample taken on May 5th found the presence of algae blooms, but no toxins were detected in the laboratory analysis. The health department advises residents and visitors to not drink, swim, wade, use personal watercraft, water ski, or boat in waters where there is a visible bloom. Keep pets and livestock away from the area and do not eat shellfish from water that contains algae blooms. Blue-green algae is common in Florida's freshwater environments. Lake Munson has a history of severe water quality and ecological problems. The national average price of gas hit a new record high Tuesday at $4.36 per gallon. In just the last 7 days, the national average rose over 15 cents per gallon. Experts say they believe costs could continue to climb through Memorial Day as summer road trip season begins, and oil prices remain volatile. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 86 this afternoon. Under clear skies, northerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows around 60. Highs level off around 84 tomorrow. Bright sunshine. Upper 70s Friday with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Mid 80s, a blend of clouds and sun Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 82.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic. In today's world, people are just stressed out. That could be causing subluxation of your spine. These misaligned vertebrae put pressure on the nerves and they shut your body down and it stops it from healing. So if you or a loved one are suffering from a condition with pain in your muscles, your tendons, or your joints, reach out to us at finnchiro.com and take advantage of our new patient special offer. That's FENNCHIRO.com, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
A woman only identified as Mrs. Wong posted on Chinese social media she had gotten locked down after a first blind date. She discovered that their date's community had gone into swift lockdown after visiting his house for a meal.
This absolutely has to become a romantic comedy. Lockdown Love. He was looking for Mrs. Right, but he found Mrs. Wong.
Lockdown. Starring Matthew McConaughey. All right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road, and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
NBA games turned out to be blowouts last night, but I've been laughing. Tom, I wish you could be a fly on the wall in my house these days to just listen to my son who goes to his room in the back and watches these games every second, every quarter of every game, locked in, it's a joy to hear it, to listen to it, to hear his reactions to the bench players. It's a reminder of what I did in the 80s and 90s watching the NBA, which is, every player on your favorite team. You certainly know those that stand in the way of your favorite team of reaching their goals. And then also sort of the players that have grown to rub you the wrong way for whatever, playing style. Maybe they just are a matchup problem for your team. But I crack up listening to him. Why do you even shoot? You're 2 for 17. Yeah, hoist another one. That sounds like me as a kid. It's great.
Yeah. You're watching the game with yourself.
Yeah, a miniature version of me. And then the next morning, I know it's going to come up. The very first thing he's going to say is, so for example, the other night when Harden showed up, he made a rare appearance and played well for the first time in 2 years. And certainly the first time in a Philadelphia uniform. And then my son, we're going to school, and he goes, that's the worst thing that could have happened. He's going to think he can do it again. He sucks. He won't score 20. And then last night he dropped, 14, Matthew? Was that what he had? Yeah, he sucked. He went back to sucking again. And so he was like, see, I told you, Dad. I was like, well, you don't have to tell me. Hey, it's not going to take much convincing for me. You know how I feel. But it's just funny. Every team, every game, an opinion. I'm like, all right, it's good. It's good. They were outscored last night 39-19 in the fourth.
That's uncomfortable.
Woo! That's a little hint of giving up. That's a toughie. So, anyhow, I've enjoyed these for the most part. The last 2 nights haven't been real good, though. The games have not been fun. Some of the other matchups previous were very good. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I couldn't watch a lot last night because I was busy watching us lose on the road to Toronto, despite being up 2-0 in the first.
That did happen. Yes. The NHL, if you're a true playoff hockey fan and you've watched a ton of hockey over the last 20 years, these games are kind of engineered in a way, and you just accept it. Like, officiating is a big talking point in college football with targeting, and the NFL with whatever, holding a certain year and hits to the head the next year.
Points of emphasis, yes.
Points of emphasis, yeah, roughing the passer. In hockey, if there's a terrible call, basically the next TV timeout, there might be a discussion that says, hey, we messed that one up. Let's make sure that anything close, we even this thing up. They really try really hard. By the time you get to the first 5 minutes of the third period, to have an equal number of bad or good calls in general, if it's possible, on the ledger for both teams. And if it doesn't work, then they'll try and even it up next game. Like, that's just the way it works. And so the frustrating part was in the second period last night, there was bad call on us. It's a guy falling down for no reason. Hand to this guy.
I saw it.
It was on Stamkos, they called it.
Because he got tangled up on the hit against the board.
So they owed us one. Toronto didn't even score on it, but I knew in the third period we're going to get a cheapie. And we sure did, because the call that Point drew was nothing.
Nothing.
It was a phantom
slap
call.
on the hand, barely.
10 seconds in. You kidding me? A guy gets cross-checked, and because he's cross-checked, his stick goes into the sky and hits a dude in the face. That's a high stick on the dude who got hit?
Yeah.
No, sir. That changed the course of everything in that hockey game, and that's unfortunate. Now, you got to be better 4-on-4 if you're Tampa. We don't need to suck at that, even in our cup runs. You don't need to suck at 4-on-4, and we do consistently. But I just hate that, you owe this one, and then you're like, wait a minute, no, we're going to give Toronto the one extra call.
I will tell you that I think your talking point goes to the way fans feel about officiating and what should be the point of emphasis in any sport and how does it work. And you just want consistency, but you also want clarity. You want to know transparency. You want to know, all right, is there, because this particular matchup favors, and I don't mean a team or a player, a certain style of play, and we're going to watch this very closely because it has the chance to turn chippy in a hurry. There's a history here. We've got to get on top of it early, or this turns into a bloodbath. In other series, it's different. We're not calling anything. It's wide open. We're going to let these players decide this. You guys, short of a mauling or an obvious takedown.
And Tampa-Toronto has been an over-officiated series.
Over-officiated series from the jump.
Yeah.
It has been call after call after call, to the point where I think equally you could point out the egregious calls against both teams where I'm just like, well, I'll take it. And 1 second, and the next I'm like, What is that? What are you calling?
The unfortunate thing is if you look at the metrics at 5-on-5, Tampa's actually dominating the series. And listen, these aren't sour grapes. Toronto had to go take it last night.
Well,
and
they
Toronto did, to its credit.
Well, they scored 3 goals in the third.
Right. And even at 3-3, when we tie it, you get a huge save, point blank off the top of the shoulder, and Toronto comes down. They scored the deciding goal,
Yes.
the 2-on-1. I mean, that's really good hockey. So good for them. This is not a sour grapes on Toronto thing. It's just there are unfortunate times, and Tampa's been on the right side of it. But that's just the way it works.
You can't turn the puck over there, and then that 2-on-1 with those two players is a goal. You're like, that's a goal before it even happens.
Well, that's an instructional video. If anybody cares to do instructing to their kids for hockey, I don't know that any of you do out there.
No.
But watch that fourth goal for Toronto last night. Number 20 in white. Never stop skating, kids. Just never stop. You never know. He gave up for the last 2 strides.
It's crazy.
Nick Paul, that's the dude who did.
But, you get a pad save, and of course, if that's a 2-on-1, you're dead. I mean, as soon as it hit his pad, I'm like,
it's a shot pass.
Yeah,
He's not trying to score there. He's trying to pass it to Matthews off the goal.
If he scores, great, but if not, it's a goal. Yeah, and he knows it. Yeah.
You go far pad.
It's also the wrong 2 guys to give a 2-on-1.
You go far pad looking for the rebound.
Yeah.
And that's why you keep freaking skating. Maybe didn't say freaking last night, but yes.
Today, should say yesterday. Tomorrow, we don't have to get the doling out the way that we have. But as of yesterday, we found out even more about the NFL schedule. Ingenious the way they do this. I forget that they do this every year, but it's smart. Give me a little nugget here and there, a little nugget here and there. Here's another one. Oh, you're going to talk about it some more on a Wednesday, are you? Great.
This year has been the most transparent they've been about the leaks.
Yeah.
In past years, it's been like, oh, this guy gets a report.
So-and-so
that
breaks
guy
the
gets
story.
a scoop. Yeah. This year, they're like, we're going to leak you this for this day. Here's a Christmas Day game. And that's a pretty good one, if I recall.
Yes, that's the Rams and the Broncos on Christmas Day at 4:30.
There you go. All right.
And it's the Denver Broncos led by, that's right, Russell Wilson, lest we forget.
Mr. Unlimited.
Oh, it kills me every time. The game's on CBS, and to your point, last segment, Nickelodeon, as well as Paramount Plus.
Oh, wonderful.
So the whole 3.
Yeah.
So the Rams will, again, be featured in a lot of games this year, fresh off the Super Bowl victory. That's fine. Let somebody else own that kind of attention. We had it for a year. I know what that is.
I know the NFL won't do it if Christmas is on a weekday. I just like how there's no hesitation if there's a Saturday or a Sunday for Christmas, and Monday too, I suppose, where they're like, no, NBA, no, you do not own today's rights. We are just going to take all of your viewers, and we're going to concentrate them for 2 teams that are probably 500, and you've got superstars. Doesn't matter. We're in a playoff race. You guys lose.
3 games expected to be announced on Christmas Day. The majority of Week 16 games the day before Christmas, including Christmas Eve primetime game they're going to have.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And following that up, a Christmas Day triple header. That's what I'm talking about. Because regular season, mid-season NBA games don't interest me. You want to throw on 3 Christmas Day games? All right, let's go.
Jingle blitz.
5 international games will be on the NFL's upcoming schedule. Don't know why. Still don't. I've read every possible report as to the why. I get it. Follow the money. Don't get it.
The Bucks are going to Munchen.
Yeah, it's Germany, and that's fine. Vikings and Saints are going to play in London in Week 4. The Giants and Packers will play in London in Week 9.
You said Vikings and Saints?
London Week
That's
4.
potentially a legitimately good football game overseas. Usually it is great team, terrible team. Like 10 years ago, Patriots, Jags. I'm like, yeah, I expected to see
They
that.
send
in
the
London.
Jags ass over there any chance they get. They're doing it again this year. They're like, here you go. You get the Broncos. That's the international schedule week in Week 8. There you go. Go send it on down the line. Then we're going to send you to Toronto. Then we're going to send you over here. And we're going to send you to Mexico.
Is that right? That the Broncos are playing the Jags over in London?
Yes, they are. Week 8.
So Mr. Unlimited is going over to London.
Seahawks Bucks will play the first ever regular season game in Germany in Week 10. 49ers Cardinals have a Monday night showdown in Mexico City. They used to love to send the Cowboys to Mexico City because they have a huge Cowboy contingent there.
So they're going. Yeah, they've had issues there with the field too. Remember they had to scrap it one year.
Just like the Hall of Fame game. Whenever they try to play that, the field's a mess there too. Like, what are we doing out here?
Over under 1.5 amputated legs.
They do this in prime time, and watch how funny it is. And I get that you have to have programming in May, and that this is your best effort here because people eat up the NFL. But watch tomorrow when it happens. There's a schedule release party. ESPN does this. All the networks do if they carry football in a significant way. It's at 8:00 Eastern time. And the NFL Network has a show. You can go on NFL.com. You can look at the NFL app. Oh, there's a million ways to get the NFL. They want you to know this, Tom. And they'll do the schedule release. They'll sit. Paramount Plus has it as well, by the way. And YouTube's NFL channel has it as well. So, again, we keep talking about these streaming rights. So it's on all of these various outlets. No way you can't see it. And they'll break down the most intriguing matchups and predict records. Now, we do W's and L's. It's kind of been a tongue-in-cheek thing for years and years and years. It has been adapted.
It has?
It has been adapted.
I've been taking it literally.
They will sit down and seriously go through the schedule tomorrow night, W's and L's for everybody, and get into debates about it.
Hey, first intermission to Game 6. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the Bucs schedule, making my plans.
Planning purposes, sure, but the idea of saying that's a win and that's a loss in the NFL, man, that's a fool's errand. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with. Used to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
Angie's List is now Angie, your home for everything home. With Angie, you could cross your next project off your to-do list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need, and we'll handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly, all for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream remodel. Because however you want your project done, we'll get it done. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. After his forces have failed to quickly overrun the Ukrainian capital, Russian President Vladimir Putin shifting his focus to the country's eastern heartland of the Donbass. But one of his commanders suggesting that Moscow's plans are broader, saying it also hopes to take control of the country's south. An official installed by Moscow in Kherson said authorities there want to make the area a proper region of Russia. Meanwhile, speaking to the Salem Radio Network, Republican Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas says he's worried the U.S. could face some military supply shortages.
The fact that we have allowed our industrial base to wither to the point or to take 18 to 30 months to replace our stockpiles is unacceptable. And I think it requires a major infusion of money to the Department of Defense that will then be able to run these lines at full capacity and beyond to make sure that we don't face a shortage.
Senator Tom Cotton, also at townhall.com. Inflation hit 8.3% last month, slowing a bit from its 40-year high. Correspondent Greg Clugston has reaction from the White House.
Even though inflation moderated in April, President Biden said it is unacceptably high. He agreed with Fed Chairman Powell's assessment that inflation is the number one threat to economic strength, and he declared bringing down prices is his top economic priority.
The White House blaming supply chain delays and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but Republicans are arguing that much of the problem lies with the president's policies. An Arizona prisoner has become the first person executed in that state in 8 years after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a last-minute appeal to halt his death by lethal injection. Clarence Dixon was executed for the killing of a college student in 1978. More at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 3388 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 3388. Enjoy.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. Oh, look at that. Somebody sent me a tweet, Tom, with the red that is from Locust Grove to McDonough over to Stockbridge. Just the red on the map.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Per our discussion of McDonough.
They don't need to update that map. Just leave it red. Always.
Yeah, just leave it there. Leave it there. You always see the express lanes that are shut down. They won't let you take. Doesn't flow in that direction when you're going that way. It's always like, yeah, This is our way of saying it could be faster, just so you know, but we refuse to allow for this this magic lane to be opened up. So it's just a big middle finger to you.
The only time you can cash in on McDonough and get through there with any degree of quickness is if you've got like the first flight out at Hartsfield, and so you're driving through at 4 a.m. because you got to get through security for the first flight out. Then you can do it, speaking from experience. But other than that, anytime from 8 a.m. to midnight,
Yeah,
you
pretty well
are screwed.
So the other day that the report came out that Tom Brady is going to work with Fox as an analyst when he retires from football, and the deal was for over $300 million, and we were all just stunned. And obviously, I mean, that's a lot of coin, but the bottom line is that's a guy who I wouldn't think, unless he's Phil Mickelson-esque, wouldn't think he needs the money. Speaking of Phil, we had a sense that that book might reveal something pretty telling about why it is he needs the blood money from the Saudis that he does, and would be willing to ruin his reputation and career by perhaps going in that direction, the way that a few of the washed-up golfers are from the PGA Tour. But if you are to believe that book, and I'm going to read it, he has over $40 million in gambling debts. Jeez Louise, man.
Which he can cover.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure,
easily. He's made that in a year, but $40 million. Sir, you're not good at this. I had it all wrong because you won the bet the one time on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl and bet it preseason, and it looked good because I think he took home $500K. But, I mean, that must have been a rarity.
Well, given who Phil is, if he won more, he would have told you about it. So maybe that's why he's got $40 million in debt, because he seems like the guy that would make sure he tweets out the ticket if it was successful.
Problem is that he's also been involved in certain cases where his names come up and the money exchange were with the wrong kinds of people, some of whom have been killed, others belong to the mob, and or so that's not good. That's not good. So that's just on the $40 million might be what you know, about. Anyhow, back to Tom for a second. $300+ million. So it's not as if he didn't already have the level of FU money that we would all desire to have to do anything we wanted. But I got into a conversation about which sporting event, if money was no object, would I want to go to? And this, my dad and I were talking about this. And so one thing to note, I thought, well, I'm going to look up a couple of things. I am
the first NFL game in Germany.
No,
right?
No,
that's it.
Although it'd be fun to visit Munich. No, I wanted to know, because as we talked about this, the more I thought about it, the more I realized, okay, listen, so if we think internationally, what is taken in by the most amount of people? And immediately my thought was, well, soccer. So like number one on that list, if we were just looking at viewership around the world, I would think the World Cup would be number one. But it's interesting. The Tour de France, 3.5 billion viewers. World Cup, the last one, 3.3 billion viewers.
So cycling does better numbers in the World Cup.
It did in the last one. Yes, that's crazy to think about.
That's a lot of standard def televisions around the world just stuck on one channel. That's
Remember also, it's over the course of 23 days. So they counted all of it. It added up. So I think that's more of it. That's crazy. That's a lot. Well, then again, the World Cup's a lot too. It's, anyhow, and hence 3.3 billion viewers. The Cricket World Cup got 2.6 billion viewers. Cricket.
I still don't understand that game. I sat at a pub in Brighton with a man who loves cricket, and he explained it all, and it made sense for like an hour, and I couldn't retain the knowledge that I needed to get it. It's nuts.
I watched cricket at length when I was in London, and then later Bath and a couple of other places, just because I do understand its huge popularity. Now, a big part of these numbers, the 2.6 billion, India. And so, a lot of people in India, and they all love cricket.
Close quarters.
Not ideal. But that said, that last Cricket World Cup set a record for the most watched cricket event of all time at 2.6 billion viewers. Then you get into the Olympics, where the Summer Games had over 2 billion viewers. The Winter Games had over 2 billion viewers. Top 10, number 6, the Women's World Cup, 1.12 billion viewers. I like the Women's World Cup. I watch the Women's World Cup. I'm in. Yeah, I agree with that. That's good. Boxing still gets, depending on the fight, worldwide over 1 billion viewers, so it's not a dead sport. It is kind of in this country, but the UEFA Champions League does really well, over 380 million. Super Bowl all the way down here, because very specific to the United States, 96.4 million viewers. Not billions, but millions. And then the World Series is in the top 10.
You've answered your question as to why the NFL is going overseas. There it is.
I guess.
The NFL
I don't
wants
think
that
it's working.
billion mark. They want to, goad local municipalities and countries into saying, here you go.
What, are they going to expand their league to Europe, I guess, is the effort here?
They want it on televisions over in Europe so they can hit those numbers and sell to the corporate sponsors that they're partnering with that are all over the globe and saying, look, we're worth buying.
Yeah, it's always about that. I get it. It's always about expanding and making more money. But, man, they've been trying for a real long time. And every time I see these games in London, the folks look disinterested, first of all, because all you're watching is people fall down. A whole lot of slipping and sliding. They got to get the fields right.
That's why in Tottenham they have the turf now.
Yeah.
They brought in American turf or field turf.
Field turf, yeah. So I guess my point was to circle back and put a ribbon on this. Of the world's events, whether it be the Masters at 9.5 million viewers or the NBA Finals at 16.54 million, the Kentucky Derby that just happened. Did you watch? Major upset, 80-1 odds. Yeah, I watched. You know what kind of jumped out to me? Some on the lower part of this list. If I had the kind of money that Tom will make just for broadcasting and could go and take in with family and friends, pay for them, everybody, we're all going. I mean, certainly the British Open this year would be pretty amazing to do.
It was supposed to be my honeymoon.
I know.
Thanks, Rona.
Yep.
Ouch.
So, this would be ideal. But I would want to go to Wimbledon, and I would want to go because I know they have fun, and they do have fun. The World Cup of Rugby is apparently a good time.
A bleep show?
I have to be it's in France this year, and I got to believe that would be a good time. It's 20 of the best international teams in all the globe, and it's a 6-week tournament. 6 weeks. So you got to pick the right week for the best possible. You can't, anybody who makes it through 6 weeks at a Rugby World Cup, boy, that's a constitution right there. That's a toughie.
So these aren't nations. These are the best. It's almost like a Champions League. I'm gathering.
It's the best international teams in a 6-week tournament. And again, the upcoming one, the next Rugby World Cup is from September the 8th through October 21st.
Oh, my God.
2023 in France. Weather's nice in France that time of year.
You just got to stay out of the scrums and the stands because I'm sure it gets testy.
Yeah, a lot of testosterone in the World Cup of Rugby, I'm sure. But, man, tell me that doesn't sound like fun. Just like the cricket one sounds like fun.
And the Six Nations. The Six Nations as
yeah.
well.
That sounds like fun. Like much more so than, say, going to the Kentucky Derby.
No way.
Yeah, don't care.
You'd have to pay me.
I don't. You wouldn't go if you had a free place to stay and a free ticket?
No, not really.
I think I might just to experience it.
No,
there are a few things that I wouldn't go to for if given for free.
You're stuck there watching races all. I don't care. I don't care about the second. Like, I'm not doing it.
Well, just like if you want to attend the actual race,
I'd have to be in
race.
An owner's box. Like not the infield. Like it would have to be.
The infield wouldn't suck.
No, can't do it.
What about so you and I were going to do the Daytona 500. We were this close to getting invites to go and to be down there for the Daytona 500. Now, I don't give a damn about NASCAR. I think it's ridiculous.
Right.
But I would go to that. I'd cross it off the list.
I know this is going to hurt you. I think I'd rather go to the Daytona 500 than the Kentucky Derby. I think I'd have a better time at the Daytona 500 than the Kentucky Derby.
You think so?
Yeah. I know. It hurt a little.
It doesn't hurt. I'm trying to follow your reasoning. It's less uppity, that's for sure.
Right.
But boy, it is a lot less uppity.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Okay. So it's almost like a philosophical question that you can have at the dinner table. Would you rather be so stuck up it's ridiculous, or would you rather be so down in the dumps that it's rowdy? Well, the infield of a Daytona 500 is the dumps, Matthew. Come on now.
Rowdy is the way of describing it.
Yeah.
That is a descriptor. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. I don't,
Hey, that's not political either, because they both vote for the same people.
yeah, no, I know. That's interesting. We would be, you and I would stick out, to say the least, as we rolled in there.
In either place, I think I'd stick.
No,
Where would
but
you
I'm
stick
saying,
out more?
Can you imagine wide-eyed as we would be walking into those two places?
I hear you.
Well,
But
my goodness gracious.
where
what
would
do
you
we have here?
Where do you think you'd stick out more? In the owner's box of the Kentucky Derby or the infield of the Daytona 500?
There's an easy way not to stick out at both places, but
it's not to go to either.
Well, I'm just saying, if you went to either, it's not hard to disguise yourself as one of the masses. Certainly not for you and I, but I would say that it wouldn't be
I'm
difficult.
sorry, I don't have the $25,000 watch to get into the Kentucky Derby to not stick out, because that's I think that's the going rate. If you want a decent seat there.
Tony, who lives in Daytona, writes, the 500 blah. If you live here, it sucks. You'll see things that can't be unseen. Oh, I know. Tony, I guessed as much. I guessed as much.
What drives that point home, too, is that his avatar it's on fire. It's like the Noles are on fire.
We can dare to dream that the Noles are someday on fire in the right way. My goodness gracious. I just those two, that's a fun debate. We should sit down and do my granddad gave me back in the day, whenever I really, really was wrought with worry over any issue, whatever it was. Pros and cons. Take a pen to a pad, Jeff. Pencil to a legal pad. Make sure you write down the pros and the cons, and be very honest with yourself about the pros and the cons.
How about this? I'll give you 3 options, and you could do the creme de la creme experience of all 3. So it's your choice.
So the best experience,
yep,
no matter where we're going. Okay.
Yep. Kentucky Derby, Daytona 500, President's Cup.
Oh, the President's Cup all day long.
Really? Even though it's
but
the
I
President's Cup.
I like the President's Cup. Also, have you seen the top 6 for the American team this year and the top 6 for the international? I'm telling you, the President's Cup is going to be awesome this year, and I think we're going to win it. But in addition to that, the 6 captains' choices, I mean, he's got some tough. He's got Davis Love III as the President Cup's captain, and he's got a tough choice, because some of the guys you would want to compete in an event like that, Dustin Johnson is like 17th. Tony Finau, which he's played well for us, he's 16th or 15th. You have to go down the list.
It's the President's Cup.
Which we're going to dominate that ass in the President's Cup, buddy.
It's like the AAA World Series, you know?
Wow.
It would be more interesting if it was on a 3-year rotational basis, and one of the 3 years you got the internationals playing the Euros. That would make the President's Cup more interesting.
The President's Cup is awesome. I think you have got this twisted, sir. If you had the creme de la creme experience of the President's Cup, you would love life.
The best thing the President's Cup ever did was the fake video of Tiger walking in the putt before it goes in. Like, that's probably the most famous thing that's ever happened is a fake thing.
Oh, man. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. You can tell us May.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has been serving North Florida for over 50 years. When you've been around that long, you're certain to see change. Back in the day, almost all of our competitors were just like us, owned and operated by local people to keep their lawns green, protect North Florida customers from pests, and their homes from termites. We always had a great respect for our competitors because they truly cared about the well-being of our community as we at Paul's do. But things began to rapidly change. The local competition began selling out to big companies based in places like Orlando, Atlanta, and Memphis. Local decisions being made by people who know very little about the unique needs of North Florida. And now, many of them are being bought by international companies based overseas. Local decisions made by people in Great Britain. In our industry, being local does matter. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is still owned, managed, and operated by people that live in North Florida. This is our community. We proudly make it our home, and all of our decisions are made locally to serve our customers. For the elimination of termites and other pests,
and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
When your AC unit decides to give up the ghost, it doesn't always pick the best time. But no matter what time, day or night, or day of the week, you can call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be out to bring your AC unit back to life. We've been repairing and replacing heating and air conditioning systems in the North Florida and South Georgia area since 1974. So when your air conditioner stops working, call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning to the rescue.
Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue just north of Havana have become your destination for the best food either side of the state line. But what if you want fresh seafood? Say no more. Kenny and the crew have got you covered with seafood so fresh, the only way you'll get it fresher is if you grow a set of gills. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, 1 mile north of the last light in Havana. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, open 7 days a week. Get your fill at the grill.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent communication is the recipe for a 5-star mortgage experience at FSUHomeLoans.com.
All that good stuff.
That was the highlight of his day, I'm sure.
He had to pretend like it was. And he was asked about, the state of college football, but it comes up, and it's going to come up a lot for all of these coaches now, especially because of the high-profile situation that just occurred at Pitt. But when you have players on a roster that you fear could be poached, and in today's climate, they can, you're going to have coaches asked about it. And he says that, quote, we've had conversations. There have been a couple of guys on our team that have had people from the outside talking to them. They weren't in the portal, but they were trying to make decisions on certain things for their future. I don't find that shocking. I don't find that to be the kind of thing that, like, let's say nationally would gain traction. Florida State's coach claims players were poached or attempted to be poached or what, because I think that that's just where we're at. Unfortunate as it is, I think if you've got good players, expect that people are talking to them, quote, illegally or however you want to label that. That's just the reality of where we're at. And until we get some rules in place here, or more importantly, an enforcement arm of an NCAA or whomever it is that is going to run college football moving forward, capable of doing something about it, then this is the new norm. It's not to be something that you're taken aback by, maybe frustrated, and I sense that most fans are. I believe most coaches would be very frustrated in having to deal with that sort of thing, but that is the reality of your situation.
The tough part about where we are now is a lot of us, either in the media or the coaching community, like people who have the power to do something, and then just us who are commenting on it. We're all throwing ideas against the wall to see what sticks for the enforcement. Like one thing that Jimbo brought up a long time ago that I think could have weight if people would have the power to vote on it is you create a war chest of a lot of money that could go to a student if they complete their degree or if they complete their term that they sign on when they join the university on National Signing Day. So if they have an NIL on December 15th as a high school player and they have a choice between a 1-year agreement, a 3-year agreement, or a 4-year agreement, you could slot based upon the term of commitment. Once they complete those seasons, what goes into their bank account. So there is the true quid pro quo for college athletes. It's
service pay.
Right. Make sure you keep your grades up. You play for these years, and then here's the money you're going to get. Whether or not you score 100 touchdowns for us over those 3 years and you're a stud, or you're basically a glorified walk-on. If you have committed to us, we commit back to you. Here's the money you can get. That's not going to stop rogue boosters, but it might help you in the transfer portal and the Wild West of what's going on.
I mentioned it in the first hour. We're all trying to garner information. Our own Irish fellows over there right now for these ACC meetings. And, you're trying to learn what is coming down the pike. The big subject matter, such as the rules for NIL, how to curb what we're seeing in the basically inducement pay-for-play game, who's coming to save the day, which the answer is nobody, who's able to enforce the many things that we're all suggesting, whether that be a radio talk show in Tallahassee or an athletic director in the conference or a head coach or anybody else for that matter, who's able to implement that. And who's able to make that stick. It doesn't sound like much right now. And so this is why everybody's sort of standing there wondering, as I just noted, who's coming to save the day. But there are some more immediate things that look like they will get done. And one of those happens to be the remaking of a football schedule model. And I think that's going to happen within the ACC. It could happen not this year, obviously, but next year. It seems likely that's happening in the Power 5 period.
So Ira hit up the message boards with a bunch of updates about a half an hour ago, and that's one of those things where the coaches were tied 7-7 in a split vote on whether or not to scrap what they're currently doing with divisions and create the system that you've heard about in the last couple of days, which is 3 fixed opponents,
3 to 5 arrangement.
Right. And then you play 5 other opponents for a home and home in a 2 consecutive year span. So for example, you're playing Clemson, Miami, Georgia Tech every year if you're Florida State. Let's just say that was the teams that are locked in. Then you're going to play NC State 1 year home, 1 year away. Then NC State's off the schedule for 2 years. They come back. So when you're a 4-year athlete, you can play everybody in your conference before you graduate. That's not a bad idea.
I love the idea, man. I have wanted for some time, and I know there's a famous game with a famous soundbite from it, but it's been a long time since that. Wouldn't you love to go play at Virginia Tech? Wouldn't that be fun for you and me and anybody else that likes to see an environment that is more in line with celebrating football the way we do, the way Clemson does?
When's the last time we played there? Do you remember?
Well, that's the famous call. That's Rashad Green. That's
2012.
That's me yelling and the booth being upset. So that's all of that. I've wanted to go there for a long time. It'd be a lot of fun. But yes, the opportunity to trade out and go forward from there, it would be fun. I saw a quote, by the way, from Radakovich. I think the one where there are 4-year rotating cycles where you play everybody twice and you have 3 common opponents, I think that really got a lot of thumbs up from most of the ACC schools, quote unquote.
So also something that Ira pointed out, even though the coaches were split on the change, they don't have the real votes. The athletic directors do. And
our athletic director wanted to see us expand our brand as opposed to playing Georgia Tech every year.
Right. Well, it sounds like there are enough votes in the room for the ADs to make the change. We'll see if that happens. Jim Phillips is speaking to Ira and the assembled media over there around 4 o'clock today. One other note, too, from the coaches over there. It sounds like they're in favor with doing away with the 25-player limit in annual new scholarships. That's interesting. So it's no longer 25. If you want to flip the hell out of your roster, you can do so.
Let's get to the flippity-flipping. That has to happen, and soon. You saw, by the way, the potential permanent opponents for every team has kind of been posited, thrown out there. We are on the short end of the stick here.
In terms of schedule difficulty? Absolutely.
Yeah, every year we're going to get Clemson and Miami. Man.
Meanwhile, there's Virginia who gets, Virginia Tech, Pitt, and Syracuse or something like that.
Well, they get Virginia Tech, North Carolina, and Wake.
Yeah, that's doable.
I think I especially like, honestly, I would love Virginia Tech, which is Virginia, Louisville, and BC. Really? Okay. Yeah, I'd do that. That's fine. Or give me Yeah, give me North Carolina's. Duke, NC State, and Virginia.
Oh, get out of here.
Get the hell
So
up
they're
outta
going to be
here
in
with
third
that
or fourth place
nonsense.
every year.
Oh, hell, give me Miami's. They get to avoid Clemson. They get Florida State, Boston College, and Pitt. Nope.
I vote against this measure.
Yeah, we would have Miami, Clemson, and Syracuse. No. I mean, I don't care about Syracuse. Beat that ass on the regular, but I mean, come on.
So they wouldn't give us Tech. That's interesting.
I want Tech.
Yeah, we want to be able to drive to games. That'd be nice.
Well,
once a year.
Also, they're just garbage. So, yeah, let's do that. Although I say that, we're garbage right now. We haven't been able to beat anybody. So
Including them.
I thumb my nose at these folks, but
Well, they beat us.
Well, they laugh at us. They know. They know when the ship is
You
righted.
losers.
They know when what?
We just beat you.
Yeah.
You're a loser.
They know when the ship is righted and everything is operating at peak efficiency. The deal. You play your best, we'll play ours. Let's see who wins.
If there wasn't that lightning delay, James Blackman would have thrown for 5 bills.
I contend that lightning delay was devastating.
You saw Mike Norvell's reaction. I think he would contend in an honest moment.
That place was moving. I was right down there on the 50. I was watching it happen. Like, here we go. That was the great catch at the was that Cam McDonald's great catch? Was that?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only one he's ever made.
From James Blackman. That's
a little bit of an overthrow, went up and got it.
In the history of the most unlikely plays in Florida State history, that's maybe top 5.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A father and son from Live Oak have been arrested for illegally selling gun silencers, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida. Destin Eward, 44, and 24-year-old Greg Eward face federal charges of possession and transfer of firearm silencers not registered to them, the press release says. Destin Eward was also charged with threatening to assault and murder a federal law enforcement officer. The operation was discovered by an undercover agent who purchased firearm silencers and communicated with Ewards via a website they were operating. Destin Eward also has a history of sending violent threats to public officials and law enforcement officers via the telephone, email, and social media. He also posted threats on his personal website. Greg Eward could face up to 10 years in federal prison, while Destin Eward faces a maximum penalty of 20 years. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 86 this afternoon. Under clear skies, northerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight, lows around 60. Highs level off around 84 tomorrow. Bright sunshine. Upper 70s Friday with a chance for scattered thunderstorms. Mid 80s, a blend of clouds and sun Saturday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on their plates. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think? There was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
or I'm kind of surprised it didn't happen here. Kicker Josh Lambo has filed a lawsuit against the Jags. He wants his $3.5 million salary for 2021, plus damages for emotional distress. If you recall this story, one of the many that came out after Urban Meyer was told to have a good day by the Jags. The lawsuit, in part, brings up the fact that he suffered verbal abuse and was kicked before a game by Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer kicked him before a game and cursed at him, something about not missing kicks, and then kicked him and all that good stuff. So, all right, fine. He's suing. That's interesting. But I started wondering for a second, Urban, who's not seemingly liked by anybody there in Jacksonville or anybody who's ever really known him, and the abuse, verbal and otherwise, which is described in several articles since he was let go. How is it? And I suppose some of it has to do with workplace and chain of command, whatever it might be. But I looked it up, Tom. Josh Lambo, depending on where you look, is 6'1", 6 feet, 215. Basically my size. He's basically my size, either an inch shorter or same height, about within 5 to 10 pounds. Same. So I was just trying to, by way of comparison, get a sense of, I mean, I thought, because, listen, almost every professional athlete is a lot bigger, even kickers and punters, than you realize. When you go and when you stand on the sideline of an NFL game, you're like, these dudes are huge. Even the punters, they're big guys. Most of them, not all. So I was like, okay, well, I wonder how big Josh Lambo is. So I looked it up. And then I thought, well, how big is Urban Meyer? Because I don't know. And he's the same height. He's the same thing. Depending on where you look, 6'1", 6 feet. Something around 5'11", I saw. It's high as 6'2", somewhere in that neighborhood, right? So not 6'6", or whatever, right? Not that that's everything. Just trying to get a sense. I don't know of too many places where a person could put his hands on you, be in the midst of verbally abusing you, kick you, and that somebody wouldn't be well within their rights of pummeling their ass. Think about, how did that not happen with Urban Meyer? The smugness of Urban Meyer, the lack of respect for his players, for the franchise, for the job that he was tasked with doing, the amount of times that he has been called out and or was said to have done those things, and nobody, not even a guy who got kicked before a game, decided not to do something about it physically. That's remarkable. It's just an observation. It's stunning to me that somebody who is as competitive and physically fit as even this kicker, that nobody thought, if you put your hands on me, you touch me again. I can't believe that didn't happen.
Well, I want it to happen personally. And he's going to get another contract with Fox College Sports. You see that?
Of course he is.
I mean,
care.
Come on.
I know.
I don't have a good answer for you.
There's not a good answer. It's an observation. In light of the lawsuit, it's just an observation. I'm stunned that somebody in an NFL locker room didn't decide, okay, so this is the kind of fun and games we're going to have around here, huh?
The young ladies came to my table. They wanted to take pictures.
Yeah.
So
to see my grandkids.
I went to take pictures with them. That's all. Yeah.
Dude is, man, like, Urban Meyer's got to be like $175. Man, no. I can't believe you'd have the gall to be kicking people, even a kicker.
Why wouldn't he have the gall, though?
I mean, that's insane.
Think about it. He
first of all,
he's never been checked. Even with Rinaldi, they're best friends 6 months after according to the report, interview. That was all a charade. He kept his job at Ohio State. He's never been told no. Even when he's fired, he gets the next job at Fox Sports. He's fired. I mean, think about the resume of all the things that have gone wrong, enabling wife beaters, looking the other way for murderers. And they're like, yeah, you know what? That's a guy I'd hire.
Yeah.
So he absolutely should have the gall.
I'm just thinking, my man, that is, that's a line. Like the verbal abuse of which you speak, it makes sense. But I got to be honest. When I looked him up, he's not. I thought Urban was a lot bigger than he is. He's not that big, and more. So he's not physically intimidating. There are some good football coaches who are like,
he's kind of frail too. Like that's why he wears the giant windbreaker.
Yeah,
he's a little frail.
He's near 60 years old. He's about $170. No, man, it's not like some of the. Look, if the coach of the Lions grabs you, ain't much you're going to do about that.
Right. Or Mike Vrabel.
If Mike Vrabel grabs you,
even though he's got a little chunky, he's still got problems.
That's all. Oh, you got a lot of problems. That's all I'm saying. There are guys that coach in that league that you're like, well, that'd be a toughie. I don't know that you're going to be able to do. But now if Shanahan grabbed you, man, get the hell up out of here. Shanahan.
Bruce Arians. Watch it, old man.
Yeah, you can.
I don't want to Pedro you.
Like, seriously, we all know who they are. We like to joke about it. There are coaches in that league that you're like, man, I don't think guys are going to say a damn thing back to him. Then there are guys like Urban Meyer. You're like, man, I will backhand you.
Or like Tony Dungy back in the day. What you going to do, Tony? Come on now.
But Tony's not going to kick you or say something
Of course,
ridiculous.
he never would.
Yeah.
He'd ask you to pray. You know, like Urban Meyer's probably said somewhere like, Trevor and I, we decided to pray on it. And that's why we went with the third down call.
Yeah.
But like Tony would actually ask you to pray. Like he really would.
Yeah.
It would be a bold-faced lie from Urban.
No, of course it would. But Vrabel, you're right to point out Vrabel. The dude from the Lions is the one, though. Nope. Looks like he can still play. That's not happening. No, nobody's saying a word. Who was the coach with the Giants that's punching people in the face all the time?
Oh,
who just got fired.
But I remember Tom Cable back in the day.
Yeah. Former, not messing with him.
Mm-hmm.
Massive.
Young John Madden? Nope.
Not young John Madden.
Young John Madden.
Yeah.
Like short sleeve and tie John Madden.
Yeah. Big dudes. Big dudes.
No, sir.
Yeah, Urban doesn't fall in that camp.
Even young John Gruden.
Kicking.
Even young
John.
No. But here's why. Because he'd fight to the death.
Well,
John
John
wants to die. He's got a death wish.
Well, then he'd have to because, man, John Gruden ain't stopping nobody from
You ain't seen nothing yet, Cameron.
Joe Judge. Good call. Joe Judge. Giant. Well, Mike Ditka in his prime.
Oh, Robert Saleh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't know how big Saleh is, but he looks a little.
He's a defensive coordinator. The defensive guys, it's offensive linemen, former trench guys, and defensive coordinators.
Offensive and defensive linemen.
Yep.
Nay. Not messing with that.
Not Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer and Pete Carroll. Who wins?
Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's in shape.
But Pete Carroll's like 72.
But he's in great shape. Zimmer's not. Zimmer's going down.
Bruce Arians or Andy Reid?
Andy Reid.
Really?
Andy Reid.
Even the stomach stapling?
But Bruce has got so many medical issues. His feet don't work. He's diabetic. He's half dead. I don't,
Yeah, but Bruce's weapon's a tumbler. Like he'd bash you over the head with a tumbler or crown.
He'd throw his crown at you.
Have a drink of that, baby.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't want to fight him because he's one of the nicest guys in the world. Like the players all love him.
Andy, I sure hate to do this to you.
Yeah. Andy would, Andy, if he grabbed him. Andy's huge. Not just fat, but Andy's just a big dude.
But if you just stand right in front of him, he has to get his arms around himself before he can grab you. You just got to stand right in front of him, not to the side.
So it's like Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Or like Dark Helmet in Spaceballs, you just hold him up.
There's no easy segue except to say that the mortgage process can be intimidating. But not when you go see the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, Chad and Shannon, legendary team. And they're not going to kick you. They're not going to kick you. They're not going to verbally abuse you. No. Transparent communication, cutting-edge technology, the best possible rates and service. It's all right there, my friends at Hamilton Home Loans. Check them out, FSUHomeLoans.com. Or give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. We always want to thank Chad and Shannon, legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans, for being part of the Jeff Cameron Show. And you can experience their expertise, 844-FSU-LOAN, FSUHomeLoans.com.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Hey, this is Dustin Rivest. During the pandemic, I noticed restaurants struggling with online ordering and watched as all the major third parties took advantage of our local restaurants and thought there must be a better way, which is why I created foodiestakeout.com. The unique thing about Foodies Takeout is that restaurants keep 100% of their order revenue versus splitting upwards of 30% with the third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad. At Foodies Takeout, you can find some of your favorite restaurants, such as Jerry's Midtown Cafe, Misty's Kitchen in Frenchtown, Casa Grande, and even El Jalisco. Or if you're on the north side of town, check out Horizons Bar and Grill. Why not give us a try? Head to foodiestakeout.com or text foodies to 230-9456, and I'll even give you 10% off your first meal. Supporting local restaurants has never been easier. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
In baseball again yesterday. So after the Pirates dominated the Dodgers, they turned around and lost 11-1. But don't look now. Dare I say it? Goodness gracious.
It's a good day so far?
It is. I don't believe it can't last, can it? It can't. I don't.
You aren't no-hitting them, are you? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't think we're no-hitting them. I don't believe that is true. But we are shutting them out currently, knock on wood. So
I do love sports because even though it wasn't an equal trade, it's not even close to an equal trade. The moment that the game was over and the Lightning lost to Toronto last night, I switch over to the MLB app and I'm watching Mets Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets should win that ball game. The Nationals are terrible. But it's runner on first, 1 out in the 9th inning, and Edwin Diaz induces a 4-6-3 double play to end the game. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you, sports. That's only a 10% makeup for the 100% disappointment I felt in a Game 5 loss, but that 10% counts for something. It's the beauty of sports. Sometimes another team picks you up. When we lost in Game 7 to the Cardinals in 2006, the famous Beltran 83 down the middle from Wainwright that he looked at, the Bucks had the walk-off from Matt Bryant against the Eagles that Sunday.
From 63 or 62.
Yeah, you were watching it like Cross Creek or something?
No, I was watching it. Well, I forget what it's called now, but it's that sorry chorus out there in Wakulla or whatever. But yeah, like
okay.
Yeah, that one.
So you were at a clubhouse watching that game. You were going to get a refill, right? Because
we were at the turn, and we stopped in and got refreshments, and I couldn't believe he was lining up to kick. Yeah,
I think the Game 7 was maybe on a Thursday or a Friday with the Mets and the Cardinals, and I didn't speak very many words for the next few days to my friends, other than yes, no, and then that game. It was just like this elixir. Thank you, sports. I needed that 63 yards to walk it off. Beautiful.
You know, I forgot about something before we do probables. I do believe Kansas beat Texas last year.
Again?
Yeah, I think they did.
Oh, man.
I forgot about that. Look that up for me really quickly. I just was thinking about coaches that have failed and the difficulties of getting things turned around. And I was reading a story during the break that kind of alluded me to it, but I think they did. Pretty sure they did. And like the guy who caught the touchdown pass was a third string fullback.
Yeah. 57-56. Oh, my.
Well, remember when Charlie Strong lost to Kansas, and I was like, well, you already had some things going against you at Texas there, Charlie, but you can't lose to Kansas.
So
objectively speaking,
I will grant you that it's an overtime result.
They lost to Kansas.
No, but wait. Kansas scored more points on Texas than Oklahoma did last year.
Yes.
55 is what Oklahoma put up.
Didn't work. It didn't work. Well, that was a comeback. Remember, there were a lot.
We felt like both programs. I was like, you know what? This could be a good day for Texas. And then they didn't win again until the final game of the season against Kansas State.
Just as an aside, that was a tough first year for Sarkisian. Close to Kansas.
They did not. It was October 9th through November 20th. Texas lost every football game. Holy smokes.
It's a toughie. All right, time for probables. Here we go. Fire it up, good sir.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Brought to you by North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com. So now I'm to what I was alluding to. They're in the bottom of the sixth in Pittsburgh at beautiful PNC Park, where the Pirates seek to take the series from the Dodgers. Currently lead 3-0.
Wow.
Baseball. I'm telling you, baseball's screwy. Doesn't make any damn sense. Ryan Pipio and Dylan Peters. Blue Jays, Yankees. Jose Barrios, Jameson Taillon. It's 5-2 Yanks right now. That game in the seventh. Top of the sixth, 8-4 Cincinnati over Milwaukee. What's going on with the Reds? They've woken up from their slumber. That's Adrian Hauser and Vladimir Gutierrez. All the games about to be mentioned are coming up. Phillies, Mariners. We got Bailey Falter and Logan Gilbert. Hello, Bailey. Marlins, D-backs, Sandy Alcantara and Merrill Kelly. Merrill's got to be a character in any number of movies in which somebody could decry Merrill's ineptitude. So you would just be like, oh, well, that was Merrill.
It's a good line.
Yeah. Rockies, Giants, Chad Kuhl, Alex Cobb. I see Chad Kuhl still kicking ass. What the hell? Cubs, Padres, Keegan Thompson, Nick Martinez, Mets, Nats, Tyler McGill, and Aaron Sanchez.
That's Tyler with an O.
Sorry, Tyler.
What a name.
Parents didn't know what the hell they were doing. Rays, Angels, Shane McClanahan. Shohei Ohtani goes for the Angels. Man, has he been special lately, both on the mound and with the bat.
My name is Rob Orts with an O.
You'd want to yell at him, and he'd be like, I didn't have a say in the matter. A's, Tigers, Zach Logue and Joey Wentz. Red Sox, Braves, Nathan Eovaldi, Ian Anderson.
Go Sox.
I think they won last night, didn't they?
I think they did.
Yeah. Stroh's Twins, Jose Urquidy, Chris Archer. I can tell the Braves have gotten under your skin because you don't care anything about the Red Sox, and yet you threw that in there.
It feels like the good old days.
Orioles, Cards, Spencer Watkins, and Miles Mikolas.
Yes.
Royals, Rangers. I know, by the way, it's Mikolas. Save the email. TBD and Matt Bush. Guardians, White Sox. You know, saying the word Matt Bush made me want to pop a can of Bush and just guzzle it.
It made me think of the Nick Faldo comment on the, I think it was a Stenson tee shot. It went right into Arnold Palmer's Bush.
Oh, yes, and we were all like, oh. No, I don't like Bush beer. But, like, if you said, here, have a Bush Light, pop that baby and guzzle it right now. It just sounded delightful. I don't know why.
If it helped me with the allergies, I'd chug it.
That's what I'm going to say the next time we're on the course and we're starting the back nine. Here's a Bush to help you with your allergies. You got me a Bush at the turn? I did.
They sell Bush at Capital City?
They do.
You didn't just find that in the grass?
Old school clientele. Guardians, White Sox, Aaron Savell, and Vince Velasquez. And that is a look at those that showers out of the bump. I love the idea of me finding a can of Busch beer unopened in the grass at Capital City Country Club saying, hey, I got you a Busch, chug it. It'll help with your allergies.
It would be a really cool thing to do if you've got FU money, you're eccentric.
And you drink Busch?
And you just leave cold beers in the fescue every Sunday morning.
And it became a secret. Like people were like, yeah.
I don't know who does this.
Yeah. What's that called when they place them in video games?
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I heard Cameron played the course this morning. There's Easter eggs of Busch all over the place.
Cameron had the first tee time.
Yeah.
Don't buy any beer. Trust me.
We're all good. Oh, look where he put him here. He put it in the sand trap. How cute. I have little messages for people. Enjoy. Sorry you're in the sand. Have a cold one. That would be great. People forgot. I'm telling you, I just looked at the chat. I just went back. That's right. Freaking Texas lost to Kansas last year. This is in the summer months is where you go back and you remind yourself when we start, you're like, hey, you know what else happened? So-and-so beat, like, what? That did happen. I forgot all about that.
So the epic losing streak started with Oklahoma, 55-48. Then they lost to Oklahoma State, 32-24. Then Baylor, 31-24. Then Iowa State beat them 30-7. 30-7.
Packing it in.
If you thought Kansas was the topper, well, then they went on the road to West Virginia the next week and lost 31-23. All in sequence. I can't imagine what Longhorn sports radio or podcasts were like at that time. Must have been a lot of fun.
Director Matthew and I know we would have, is it Anwar? Isn't that his name? Yeah, he would come on and he was.
Oh, so he was documenting it blow by blow.
Yeah, a little bereft of hope. They all started feeling so good about themselves. Didn't they start the year by beating Arkansas?
No, they lost in
a close game.
Yeah, they pulled away late. Arkansas 40-21 was the final, but
it was close for a while.
They beat the Raging Cajuns, which ended up being kind of a good win,
which we thought was a big deal for them. Yeah, they ran the football effectively.
They were 4-1 to start the season.
Bijan Robinson, with a road loss to Arkansas, which is not so bad. Bijan Robinson is a star player. I mean, he's going to get drafted. We know that. They didn't have anybody drafted this year, but they will next year because of him. But man,
But now I know how they didn't have anybody drafted because
they lost to Kansas.
Well, in the midst of losing 6 straight, yes.
They actually have some good players. They have a nice young receiver. I don't.
Like, what is less likely for Texas football, to not have a player drafted or to lose 6 straight football games? Usually in the scheduling, you have one cupcake somewhere in 6 straight.
Well, they've suffered from some of the similar problems we've had. The bottom line is this: if you don't have good quarterback play, like if you have substandard quarterback play, it can go south on you in a hurry. If you're average to below average at quarterback, man. Unless you, in the modern game too, unless you could just line up and pound the rock and run the ball 55 times and shorten games, I mean, you're in trouble.
Let's do a reality show, like Trading Places, where we get to trade money with Texas for a year and see
let us work with.
Yeah, see if we stink like they do.
Well, so Tennessee feels like they're upwardly mobile, and I'll be curious to see the kind of season that they have this year in year 2. Everybody talks about what a great year they had. Well, they went 7-6. So we'll see. I don't know. But they're never going to have to long for money at Tennessee because, again, that they're in the right conference. It's just that got a long way to go to catch Georgia on that side of the
Would you chant SEC if Florida State got poached tomorrow? I don't think I could do that.
I wouldn't chant it,
but I'd smile. I'd smile.
Be happy about the windfall. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Enjoy your day. Talk to you tomorrow.